Welcome back to Coach Twigg's YouTube channel. Today, we're going to talk about 5 simple phrases that can improve any hitter out there. I hope you enjoy. I'll introduce to you my 5 phrases, and then I'll go into an explanation in the next segment. If you have a notebook or a pencil or whatever and you'd like to write these down, I think they can be a very valuable tool for you as a coach, especially when you're working with up-and-coming hitters. And my 5 phrases are very, very simple. We're going to start at the bottom of the body and we're going to work our way up. And then, as I said, in my next segment, we'll explain and show you these. First phrase, back foot. That's all you have to say, because once you teach it, every time you say back foot, your kids are going to know what they need to do to respond. The second one is knob to pitcher's forehead. The third phrase, palm up and palm down. The fourth phrase, and one of my favorites, is chin shoulder to shoulder. And the last one is on the finish of the swing, nose over toes. So to teach the first phrase, back foot, these are the teaching points that go along with it. Some people used to call it squash the bug. I call it turn the laces to the pitcher. But the key is this. We have to rotate and get up on our back toe while still maintaining weight and pushing down into the ground. So as we are in our stance and we are talking about back foot, once we take our stride, the back foot turns and pushes down into the ground. We don't over-rotate it. We're up on the balls of our feet and our toes, and the key is that we're pushing down in, and you can see that that does a great job of helping my body to stay back in this direction. We don't want to do stride, get up on our toe, and have no weight whatsoever or pick it up. Those of you that remember Frank Thomas when he played, his back foot was never even touching the ground when he hit. But remember, he was 6'12" and he weighed 300 pounds and was a ball of muscle. For most hitters, we've got to be able to keep that foot planted and push it into the ground to help our body mechanics and to help ourselves stay back. So that is back foot. The second phrase is knob to pitcher's forehead. Some people teach knob to baseball. My problem with that is when you're working with younger players, it's hard enough to get the knob moving in the right direction to begin with. For them to start to formulate, well, if the pitch is outside, my knob's got to be thrown at it. If the pitch is inside, my knob's got to be thrown at it. That's an advanced skill that we'll go and teach later on in some other videos. But the main thing is we must get the knob moving forward. We're not going to get the knob going this way or that way. Knob to pitcher's forehead. Now, the thing that you have to emphasize with this has to be a violent movement. It's probably my favorite, because if your child or your player can learn to throw the knob violently, the rest of the swing actually kind of takes care of itself. So when we're in our hitting position and we've taken our stride and we've loaded, the next movement is the fastest and most violent part, and it's knob to pitcher's forehead. It looks like this. One of the things I love is when a hitter is in the on-deck circle, he's struggling a little bit, he's wondering what's going on with his swing, and you see him doing this over and over, because that's the way a swing starts. A swing doesn't go out around, a swing doesn't go up, or a swing doesn't go down. Our swing is linear. We're back and forward. And that's the way it's got to be, violent and fast, which then whips everything else around and helps you finish the swing properly. Our third phrase, palm up, palm down. This has everything to do with when we make contact with the baseball. In our power position, when we hit the ball, one palm is facing up, one palm is facing down. So when we get to this position, palm up and palm down guarantee us a couple of things. Number one, they help guarantee that we're actually hitting behind the baseball. Our head and our hands stay behind the baseball the entire swing. The other thing it helps with is some of our players get to this power position, and right before getting there, this hand goes over, and we call that rolling over. That's going to create a ball that goes right into the ground every single time. Obviously, then the flip side of the coin is we also have players that instead of palm up, palm down, they really tilt or get this backhand way underneath it, and it's way too much palm up. Obviously, that creates an upswing, and it creates a lot of pop-ups and fly balls. So finally, to say it one more time, palm up, palm down, boom, right there. I really love this next one for kids that are having trouble making contact. You take a player who they start to get a little better, so they forget some of the little things. And the first thing that we often forget, we forget to watch the ball. So we say the next phrase, chin, shoulder to shoulder. And all that means is when we get into our stance, our chin is right over top of our front shoulder. It's right here. And as we go through our swing and we finish, our chin ends up on the other shoulder. It keeps our head down, it keeps our nose down, and it assures us that you're watching the ball hit the bat. So if you have a player who's really good and they start to get a little bit cocky and all of a sudden they're missing balls and it's not normal, say to that player, chin, shoulder to shoulder. They're going to be here, shoulder to shoulder. And now to one of my pet peeves. Our last phrase is nose over toes, and it has to do with the finish. There are so many players and coaches who ignore the finish of the swing, and it just confuses me every single time. And I think part of it is they don't think that the finish matters. Your finish for getting backspin on the baseball and getting it to travel at a fast rate and a long distance is backspin. And if you pull off of the ball during your finish, I can promise you that you're starting to pull off before you think, and you're probably pulling off too early, and therefore you're going to take away some of that backspin and carry. So this is at the very end of the swing, and we're going to look for the nose to end up over the front toes. And what it does is it keeps you centered, it keeps you down on the ball, and helps you create that backspin. So we're here, we stride, we get through it, and right now on our finish, my nose is over my toes. I did not fall backward, I did not pull off the ball, I did not rotate past it. Here's the other thing I like about it. After we hit it, if my nose are over my toes, nose over toes, I'm running to first base. What a great position I've put myself in to start running to first base. Nose over toes. So for a quick review, back foot, knob to pitcher's forehead, palm up and palm down, chin shoulder to shoulder, and nose over toes. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you can see how passionate I am about teaching hitting. I just absolutely love it. If you've watched my last couple of videos, the one thing we haven't talked a lot about is load. I don't teach load with everything else. I kind of teach that as a secondary because I think the load is something that can be very difficult. And it needs to be handled delicately to make sure that it's done correctly. So in a future video, I certainly will be talking about the load and taking care of some other parts of our swing and our game. Thank you so much for tuning into Coach Twigg's YouTube channel. Please click like, but more importantly, please click subscribe. The videos are going to continue to get better and better, and I can't wait to help you turn some players into better players.